All right. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in to Watching the World. Today is the 21st day of the Sean Puffy Diddy Love Combs trial. And today is very unique for many of us that are traveling. We usually go early in the morning, but today court starts at 1 o'clock. So that's why I did not go live as I typically do from the Grand Central Station. So I will be going live later on today as I commute down. Shout out to you, Deborah. Deborah is on it. Good morning, Mel, and thank you. No, thank you, Deborah. I really appreciate your support and liking the video. You are performing at the top of your game. It makes it much easier for people like myself to come on when we have people like you. So let's talk about the trial. I'm going to do a different format. Typically, people just talk about things, but I want to do things a little differently. So you guys will have to bear with me because I'm kind of new to this whole sharing screens and all that good stuff. But before I get started, and we might have a few people that come up, so I'm going to drop the link. This is your time to get to know me. If you have questions for me, whatever it is, come on up and let's talk about it. I'm dropping the link right now. You can also put your questions in the comments and I'll try to get to you. Typically, when I'm traveling, it's hard for me to answer all of your questions and so forth. So today I'm going to dedicate some time for that because I won't be leaving until probably around 10:30 today to commute down to Grand Central Station. A lot of people are going crazy about this trial. Last night I was on a big channel. That's how I ended my night. And it's interesting that a lot of people are starting to question this whole case. And I was shocked about that because early on, when I would come on live, people would say they had a much different take on this. So we have to see what's happening. It seems like the media is even turning too, because what's happening, I'm in the courtroom every day. And from what I've seen, there have been solid boots dropping on the ground from the prosecution, and they're building a strong case. This is my opinion from being in the courtroom. But also, what I will tell you is that in observation of all the victims and a lot of the witnesses, they come in and they tell a very convincing story. And usually the day ends, and then the media runs with their story. Oh, Cassie, this happened to her. This happened to Mia. This happened to Jane. Diddy is a monster. At the beginning of this trial, the defense even framed Diddy in that light. They owned a lot that he had done, right? They said he's a drug addict. He beats women. All of these things. Okay. The issue is that the victims have come in, and under cross examination, a lot of the things have turned out to be false. And to me, that creates a big issue for a trial of the sorts. Does it mean that Diddy didn't do it? Oh, that's pretty cool. Diddy didn't do it. No, it does not mean that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm here to report to you guys simply what I'm observing in court. I'm also interacting with certain people who are uh, following this closely, like some of the big channels. And what I find is that even people that I've met, sometimes when I go and watch their material, is not accurate. And they also add all these different parts to the story, probably to get clicks, but for the audience, it's not accurate, and that's a severe problem. Deborah says, "Did you hear about the fire at Grand Central?" No. When I came through yesterday, Deborah, there was no fire. You were the first person that brought that to my attention. I did have a guy recognize me in the street, and he said to me, "Be careful about the ICE situation." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm in the case so much that I'm not paying attention to the media. So today I get a chance to catch up. And even last night when I was on the show for Myron as a court correspondent, I also correspond for Tasha K. So we're right on this case heavy. But ultimately, I'm posting more on my channel. But I saw people in the comments asking me about the riots, and also then I saw where they had did a whole video on the riots. So I'm like, what's going on? But evidently, things are starting to happen all over the country, and it's also affecting New York. So, this whole situation with Donald Trump today, that's one of the things that I want us to go over together. But listen, we're going to have to look it up together and watch it together. So, that's why I have this queued up. Wait a minute. Is that somebody looking to come? Okay, here we go. So, I have this queued up here. Give me a second. I want to show you guys something here. And like I said, I have to get familiar with this. And it looks like I'm off to a bad start. So, okay, present. Okay, let's see here. I'm not sure why it's not showing. Let's see. Okay, here we go. All right, guys. So I'm going to get started I'm going to show you an attorney I see him every day at court, and I was able to find his video last night. I was trying to go to sleep. But anyway, he's an attorney that has been fighting cases in this courthouse. I haven't met him yet, but I will meet him. We have said hi in passing. I didn't realize that he was even an attorney, but he has an amazing take on this case. So, like, again, I'm telling you, I'm very new to this whole presenting and all of that, but it's all about trial and error. So I'm going to work through this with you while answering your questions, or if you want to come up and talk to me, here's your time. Get to know who you're dealing with. I don't mind taking on anybody or anything. Just come and talk to me. Deborah says, happened after your commute, and the ice was the masked people melt. Wow, it's a lot of people out there. So I guess this is the riots, but we're going to look that up while I'm going through this today. I want to know what's happening, especially now that I have to go back through there. I don't want to run into any drama. All right, Cindy Ann, again, Mel from Rome. I was out in Rome back in August. I had the time of my life. I enjoyed the Colosseum. I enjoyed going to the Vatican. A lot of my lives, if you go back in August, you'll see that I'm live right in the Vatican. I went to Pompeii. That was mind-blowing. She says, so many new subscribers. Well done. P.S. I just sent you an email. Check your last post too. Okay, thank you. I just answered someone's email. If you're interested in coming out and having the experience, just let me know. I'm not doing a service. I don't need to charge you or anything like that, but I will help some of my key subscribers come and attend the trial. As you know, I'm in the courtroom, main courtroom every day, and that's quite the task. We have you said, okay, chat from Italy. Okay, I'll definitely check my emails and get back with you. So let's go through this attorney. I will be adding my input as well. And pardon me if I make a few mistakes on running the system, but I will learn it well to give you guys a better product. So let's take a look at it. Let's have at it.
We just wrapped up day 20 of the Diddy trial, and if the actual jury is anything like the unofficial jurors, those who are watching the trial with me in the viewing room, they are deeply conflicted as to what to take away from Jane, as to whether or not she's a victim of being trafficked. I am Joe Neerman, aka Good Logic.
All right, so let's just pause there. Can you guys hear him? Okay, that's what I need to know. Talk to me nice. Tell me, can you hear him? Is that yes, Deborah, or no? Or what's going on? Okay, Cindy, you can't hear him? Okay, so let's have at it. Okay, let's start it over, and I'll stop and give some commentary so that I don't go against YouTube rules. Here we go.
We just wrapped up day 20 of the Diddy trial, and if the actual jury is anything like the unofficial jurors, those who are watching the trial with me in the viewing room, they are deeply conflicted as to what to take away from Jane, as to whether or not she's a victim of being trafficked. I am Joe Neerman, aka Good Logic. I'm a New York litigator who's practiced.
So the name of his channel is Good Logic. All right. I'll make sure to post it to give him all the credit in the world for using his material.
In this very courthouse in the Southern District of New York, and I come down to the trial for the purposes of breaking down for my audience how the case is proceeding from the perspective of the state, from the perspective of the defense, how good or poor a job the court is doing, and perhaps most importantly, to give you the vibe let you get a feel for what people are taking away from what is unfolding in front of them, because I think that's highly reflective as to how the jury is likely feeling. And I'll tell you right now, the opinions that I've heard about Jane are very divergent and very deeply felt, where it seems as if Jane, that many feel very definitively that she's a victim of being trafficked, and others say straight out that woman was not at all trafficked. Let me bring
Okay, so you notice what he says. Some people are saying she was trafficked, that she was abused. There's no question about that. Others are saying no. And that's the thing with this case that I have been experiencing. I went on Law and Crime, and they simply asked me questions about what I saw that morning, very direct questions. And because I said Brian Steele was a great attorney, people says, "Oh, this guy's a Diddy sympathizer." Like, how can you come to this whole conclusion when you don't know anything about me? And you could easily go to my channel and see my body of work. And I'm pretty neutral when it comes to this trial. So he's making a good point. Even with Jane, there's so many people watching, and it's amazing how we all come to our own different conclusions about this case so far, even about each unique individual. Let's have at it.
break down for you perhaps why that is. And it should lead us to conclude that the actual jury is likely to spend a great deal of time debating over this third charge of the 5 charges brought against him, which is 8.
Okay, guys, I don't want to say too much about this case and get in trouble and then get kicked out of the courtroom. But right now, one of the jurors, they have called him or her into question. So we don't know the details about it. Maybe the juror will be allowed to stay or what have you, but this is in the air. It's a very exciting time. So I just wanted you guys to know that. I think they're going to probably speak on it today. So if that's the case, when I leave out of court, I'm going to come right out and tell you what's going on with the juror as we find out.
U.S.C. 1591, sex trafficking Jane. Now, Jane is a pseudonym for Diddy's girlfriend from the period 2021 to 2024. And on direct testimony, where she spent 2.5 days going through excruciating detail about her developing relationship with Diddy from its early heyday when everything was a romantic whirlwind until a few months later when she engages in the first hotel night. And hotel night is what Cassie Ventura, the first of his known trafficking victims, testified about and called a freak off. So Jane refers to those as hotels.
So notice this is an attorney. He says that Cassie was one of his first known trafficking victims. What's interesting is we spent several days going through Cassie, listening to her story. And at the very end of her testimony, when they were asking her, like, why did you do all this? How did this all happen to you? And she said the statement, she says, because I was a sex worker. So she framed herself as a sex worker. At the very end of her testimony, I heard the words come out of her mouth, and I thought it was very interesting why she would say that so clearly and precise at the very end of her testimony.
Hotel nights, and those are extended sexual marathons where the woman is performing with another male entertainer, male performer, porn star, whomever, while Diddy watches and directs and often videotapes the events. And those hotel nights that Jane walked us through, which you've all heard about, the baby oil and the so many fluids we can't even go into it. The question that ultimately comes down for Jane is similar to the question that we had with Cassie, which is, are they acting?
So let me tell you guys real quick here, and I also want to stay on top of the comments. Dangerous Rusco says, appreciate journalists who are giving unbiased emotional takes on the case. It's very important so that people who are not allowed to get into the courtroom can come to an unbiased or whatever conclusion they want to come to about the case, right? One of the things they talked about is about these freak offs. Cassie started with Diddy over 10 years ago. They had a long journey, right? She started off as his artist, okay? shortly in Diddy Roadmaster, Wine and Diner, all of a sudden now she's getting involved in these freak offs. Now we have Jane on the stand now, and the term freak off has evolved over the years because I believe she started with Diddy around 2021 or maybe 2020, 2021, we'll call it. Now, these nights that she also became a part of are called debauchery nights. And I believe they both use the term hotel nights. So, as far as the freak offs or the debauchery nights, there will be levels to it. So, basically, you start off with one session that involved baby oil, and they would rub the baby oil on the sex worker, and also Cassie would rub each other or whatever. And then Diddy was basically calling the shots like the director, and he'd tell them in the second session. And now the first session of the baby oil, and there was a testimony that they had something like a small tub or like a pool or whatever full of baby oil, like a slip and slide type of deal. And I'm like, what is the obsession with baby oil? But one of the things that I can clear up for you guys is this. In the media, they said that the baby oil had drugs in it, right? People were just spreading that rumor around. Well, it came out in court so far, there wasn't any drugs in the baby oil. But what they did with the baby oil was put it under hot water and to heat it up, and then it would cause the bodies to shine even more. So that's very interesting. I thought, like, man, what's the kick here? Are you going to put? I mean, Johnson and Johnson must be making a whole lot of money from all this baby oil, right? So at any rate, the second session was about touching. So then allegedly Diddy would, as testified in court, he would say, "Hey, touch him there. Uh, you touch Cassie, this and that." And then there's other victims. You could just put their name there. You have what's her name, Jane, and you have Mia that testified. You have different people, but anyway. And so then it would steam up even more, and it would involve into the contact. And they said sometimes Diddy would get involved, and that's where you hear the rumors where Cassie was violated, or it may not be violation to everybody because obviously people do these weird things. It's just interesting to me, but they basically used the bathroom on her. That's probably a decent way of saying or describing what she testified, even in her face, mouth. It's just absolutely deplorable, I think, to the average person. And when the prosecutor asked her about it, like, how did that make you feel? She was like, well, how would you feel if you had two men basically standing over top of you and using the bathroom? So this is some brutal stuff here, not made for TV, things that I've never even heard about. And I've talked to people that cover these cases all the time, all sorts of crime cases. And they said for this particular case, some of the things they're hearing they have never heard before. So just breaking down this freak off, they will last for sometimes 4 days. And you see why if you're just baby rubbing baby oil for hours on end. And then also Cassie testified that there could be up to 4 guys. So day one, and in many cases, these are strange men. And this is what we're hearing from Jane. Jane is saying, and the prosecutors are leading her, and they're saying, "Did you want to be with these men?" And she's saying, "Oh, I didn't want to be with these strangers, and I got sick. One time there were 3 men." This is how she told her story. But I will tell you, under cross examination, we found out, guess what? Jane was actually ordering these workers. It's a real big problem. And also, she was planning for an all star weekend. And this all star night, I would say, involved 3 men. So imagine now, you come on and you frame yourself as a victim, and I'm not disputing that. Okay, I'm just trying to give you guys an idea. You frame yourself as a victim. Under cross examination, you're the one inviting the turn up. You're the one inviting the men. She said that after she had taken a pill of ecstasy, because that's how she's telling the story, when she was apprehensive about getting involved or doing night, the hotel night, Diddy would slip her an ecstasy pill. And then she'd take the pill. And one time, now I've never heard this. Like I said, this stuff is mind blowing. She said Diddy introduced her to a spray, Molly, I believe. And there was about 10 to 12 sprays. I don't know if you spray it in your mouth or on your skin. I just don't know. But she said it increased her sensitivity so strong that she had this amazing, pleasurable moment with a worker. And she said out of her mouth, she made love to a worker. I'm like, we heard how Diddy forced you to do this. Now you're planning 3 men, and then also you're making love to the worker. Like this case is like the Twilight Zone. One minute you think, okay, I mean, obviously he did a lot of stuff wrong, but it's really hard to navigate it. And I see the jurors, they're just trying to navigate this case too. And like I said, I don't want to talk about them too much because last week a lot of things happened in the courtroom. People were identifying the individuals that were trying to hide their identity, including Jane. And immediately you go out of court. By the time I get downstairs, we're on the 26th floor. And I open up, we have to lock our phones up. But when I open up my phone, already on YouTube, I see the identity of Jane. So, the judge, her attorney even came up and entered the box, I call it. And she approached the judge and says, listen, certain individuals, and we think they've been in the courtroom or the overflow room, have identified my client, which jeopardizes her. And so it's very interesting to see all the dynamics that happens with this case. I mean, imagine if this was a murder case and you have a witness and people are out here identifying. I think it's because this case here is such a high profile case, then everything is haywire. But I just wanted you to understand what he meant when he's talking about these freak off sessions and how they have different levels. Let me answer a few questions and we'll kick back in the video. Deborah says the corn and sickness to maximum power, Mel. Right on. It's absolutely crazy. All right. Let's see. Truly Purple Plush says being under the influence, it intensifies the sensation. Yes, that was testified. Thank you for locking in. Thank you for being such a great supporter. I appreciate you. Thanks for liking the videos too. Drabanot is back in the house. A strong supporter indeed. All right, so let's get back to the video and see what's cooking here.
Of their own free will, or are they acting because they're being forced, coerced, compelled by Diddy? Now, when Jane is testifying, she routinely refers to Diddy as my partner or my lover, and a lot of people take away from that she's choosing to please her partner, her lover, and hence she cannot be coerced or compelled. Whereas other people are saying no, that he's holding the money, that he's inducing her with drugs, that he's at one point or another blackmailed her near the end of the relationship, but certainly not at the end, that he ended up actually beating her and choking her before having her engage in a hotel night a couple of hours later. And
I want to make this clear right off the jump. When it came to Cassie, they had a relationship. You kind of felt like it was hard to decipher if she was the main chick, side chick, mostly the side chick, but it was clear, right? Still a little blurred lines. But in this case with Jane, Diddy told her straight out the gate, this is an open relationship and I'm going to see multiple women. Okay, so as he's explaining this, keep this in mind, all right?
They look at that as clear signs of her being compelled. The other form of there being force or compulsion is in the form of fraud in the inducement. What do we mean by that? Well, she talked a lot about the fact that she would be she would engage in a hotel night so that they would then afterwards go on a yacht or go on a cruise or go to this place or that place, and that never happened. And the state wants us to believe that he was intentionally trying to deceive her for the purpose of getting her to do it, and that he was basically acting fraudulently with her, and that should qualify as compulsive or a basis for the compulsory element in the charge of 18 U.S.C. 1591 sex trafficking. Now, we spent all day on cross-examination. Tenny Garagos for the defense is the one who was engaged in the cross, and I want you to just understand the dynamic here.
So I want to explain the last part that he was talking about this fraud. So there's three main charges. Number one is racketeering. If you want to understand that, I bring on attorneys for you guys every weekend. I have a excellent legal analyst. Her name is Candace Kelly. She's all over the place, law and crime. She's amazing. She breaks down racketeering. Also, every Sunday at 2 o'clock, I have Calvin Johnson on. He breaks down racketeering. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go to those videos. It's pretty complex. And then also, if you go online, different attorneys are saying different things. So it makes it hard to navigate. So that's why I bring people from a high level so that you guys can understand. Number two, here's the second charge: sex trafficking with fraud, force, or coercion, right? And then number three is sex trafficking across state lines, okay? Now, as far as the force, you go back to the video, it's self-explanatory, right? They're at a freak off, which Cassie testified. She tried to leave early. Then you see the video that broke out in CNN. She comes down the hall. She tries to put her shoes on. Diddy comes down, right? So there's the force. If you look at the video, you see him dragging her, kicking her, all sorts of things, throwing things at her. She testified about that at a higher level because she explained how these things were happening behind closed doors when no one was there, no video, right? Okay. Then you have coercion, where they're painting the picture of how Diddy is taking these women. They're making their own money, and then he cuts them off from their source of money, and now they're dependent on him. And in order for them, they're like a little science project. In order for them to get a little advancement or whatever to grow, they have to now participate weekly, in most cases weekly, in freak offs with strange men that they're hiring from Cowboys and Angels, which is a company that has dancers, right? And then they're also getting these workers from Craigslist and Backpage. I'm like, what's a billionaire? I mean, not that you should be doing that, but that's just my opinion. I can't tell someone else what to do, but they're ordering right from Craigslist. Like that's wild to me. Even some of the employees that obtain major jobs at Bad Boy, the ad started on Craigslist. So that's just a little detail as far as this goes as well. But at any rate, I'm just trying to give you some of the background information. So now he just mentioned the part about fraud. Let me explain about the fraud part. On Friday, Diddy's attorney stood up and says, hey, they're introducing two exhibits. 331 was the number for the exhibits, right? These exhibits show Jane's personal notes to self and showing her frame of mind that she said Diddy is a pathological liar. So why did she come to this conclusion? Diddy would promise her, listen, let me wine and dine you. And Diddy was really wining and dining when he first met her. But once she got locked into these freak offs, he would say, let me come on over. And she's like, you sure? Because I don't want to, I don't want to do these freak offs or anything. But he said, no, it's just me and you, right? And that was Cassie's song. It's just me and you now. That's pretty interesting. And then when Jane would go, Diddy would say, okay, here comes Paul. We're going to get Paul is on the way. Or are you ready for this this debauchery night? So this is the picture where they're painting it as fraud because you're luring her over under the pretense of love and affection, but she's getting a lot of smackdowns with these debauchery nights. Let's go on.
here. When Tenny was doing the cross-examination of Cassie on day one, she conducted it like it was a People magazine interview. She ultimately got a little bit more aggressive. That is not the tone she took with Jane today. I wouldn't call it aggressive. I don't think that she was bullying the witness at any time today, but it was certainly more directed. And the nature of the questions that she was asking was designed to elicit a feel from the witness that she was completely okay with everything that was going on here. Now, for her part, the witness seemed very well composed, and there was pretty much a very boring day of cross-examination, far less entertaining than a lot of other days that we've had so far. And with one exception of a moment which everyone sat up in their chair and was like, whoa, and I'll get to that in a moment. But her demeanor has basically been very matter of fact. I'm talking about Jane's demeanor, that she seems to be in control and totally okay with answering questions and just saying that this is the way things went down. And the tone that she keeps and the messaging that she keeps giving as she's asked questions about the fact that she was involved in selecting some of the male entertainers, and we've heard a lot about these male entertainers, that it was all a matter of pleasing my partner, pleasing my lover, that she wasn't willfully going down this road, but that she was trying to please her partner, please her lover. She talked about that when she was questioned about the nature of her friendship or developing relationship on a friend level with some of these male.
So guys, dig this. In many cases, because she claimed she did not want to participate in these debauchery nights and sleeping with these strange men. Also, Cassie testified to that. They even brought in this guy named Deontay Nash. He testified that Diddy wanted Cassie on her 29th birthday to engage in this freak off. And mind you guys, I'm in the courtroom every day. I've been in the courtroom every day since the beginning of the trial. So this is not anything someone told me. I'm giving you guys what I heard firsthand, okay? But they testified how she did not want to, sleep with these strangers, but Diddy was adamant about it, made her do it on her birthday. So in the case of Jane is telling us in court that they chose porn stars. We'll call it porn stars going forward, because she said since she had to do this, since they're trying to paint this coercion, right? Since she had to do it, I mean, basically Diddy was paying her rent, $10,000 a month. Can you imagine that? He's still paying her rent for $10,000 a month. Okay. Diddy also is paying for her legal fees now. In fact, yesterday, when it came out in court, Diddy had been scolded for talking, or not talking, but looking at the juror. The judge was like, don't be, because when certain things come out, Diddy's looking at the jurors and nodding his head and whatever. The judge says, hey, we got to shut this down. He told the attorney, listen, if you want your client to stay in the courtroom, he has to knock it off. But so anyway, yesterday when it came out in court, Diddy looked our way to the public, and he was like, nah, he turned around completely and was nodding his head like, yeah, I'm still paying for her $10,000 rent and also the legal fees, and she's on the stand talking all about me or what have you. You kind of get that this is where he was going with this whole thing.
Performers, that she described Paul as having a warm energy, or described Don as being handsome. These are different performers who we heard a lot about during her 2.5 days of direct, and that she basically seemed to be comfortable with them, that she's texting Anton, who's a third one, and that she chose out Cabral, thought that he was attractive. And the idea that Tenny Garagos of the defense wants to take away is that she's comfortable with these guys. She enjoys the sex with them. That one of the sexual encounters she called the most intense sexual experience of her life. Now, Jane responds to something like that he gave me a drug which I had, a form of Molly that I had never had before, and it served to make her sexual appetite incredibly heightened, and that's why she ended up feeling that way. Not that she had any personal desire specifically for any of these entertainers, and that her whole agenda throughout this entire time was to please her partner. Now, the interesting thing is, as I said, a lot of people take away from this that she was just putting up an act, and they believe what Jane is putting out there, that the reason that she's engaging in lengthy sexual text exchanges, which we spent hours today going text exchange by text exchange of the most, you're so sexy, blah, 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 you turn me on, blah, 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 what do you think about having a hotel night here, he's so hot, blah, blah, blah. I just... on and on. So she was trying to explain, and she seemed to be very calm in saying, I was giving my partner what he wanted.
Okay, guys, again, this is an attorney that actually practices in the same federal courthouse that I'm attending. And it's amazing. I'll definitely reach out to him, perhaps even try to get him on the channel. But I see him every day. We haven't had a chance to speak yet, but I'm using his video because he has a very nice perspective on the case. And I'm just giving you guys some background information. For those of you who are just coming in, please like, share, subscribe if you feel the need.
I was giving my lover the fantasy that he wanted, and trying to say that the justification for it was that she can tell that this is what he wanted. Now, there was a lot of people took away from this that makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense if you understand how this dynamic of this relationship is going. And that, yeah, she was, those are the parties who were saying she was trafficked. Others are saying you can't take no accountability for all these things you threw out there. There's got to be some sort of accountability. And it leads me to conclude that we're likely going to see a very conflicted jury, specifically over the third charge of the 5 charges brought against the 18 U.S.C. 1591 sex trafficking as it relates to Jane. I think they're likely to be very conflicted with very strong opinions as to she was definitely trafficked or she was definitely not trafficked. But I really want to get into the terse exchange, which was the one exciting moment of testimony today. There was a point in time where one of the issues which would develop a fight between Jane and Diddy was about the fact that she felt she had been compartmented into this type of role of serving as his pleasure zone toy, and that she wanted to be a girlfriend, and that the only reason she was doing this whole type of performance was to spend quality time with him. And she would occasionally see things in gossip magazines or on Facebook or whatever, that she would get notifications about other girlfriends of his who were getting what she deemed to be quality time. And she defined quality time as she defined, you know, getting the good boyfriend as getting quality time and dining and shopping and things of that nature. Well, Tenny Garagos for the defense tried turning that into saying that she wanted money from him, that she wanted the gifts. And she started going into a fight that unfolded.
So basically what happened is that she would go online, and especially I believe she said Instagram, and she would see Diddy interacting with Young Miami. And that set her off. I mean, she was upset. You could tell it rocked her to the core as she was giving her testimony. She had a strong disdain for the Young Miami. In fact, in court, she called, it came out that she had called Diddy, let's see how we can say it for YouTube's sake, a pedo. We'll call it a pedophile, right? Maybe that won't get into trouble. And the attorney had her clarified. She didn't mean that he was sleeping with underage minors, but what she was describing is that Diddy was so much older than Young Miami. I think they said by 27 years. Don't quote me on that, but she was talking about the vast difference. And she said something like, you're out here seeing somebody that can't even buy alcohol. So when he started with Young Miami, she was obviously or possibly below the age of 21. So this has really set her off because she wanted to be Diddy's main squeeze, main person, just like everybody else. Cassie, we heard, right? They wanted this coveted spot that Kim Porter held, his baby mother's, but they could never pull it off. And so every time they thought that they could change his mind, another lady would show up. And in this case, Diddy had several. Let me tell you how brutal it was. When she first met Diddy, and I don't know how long after the fact, sometimes people learn about things down the road. They didn't describe that. But When he took Jane to Turks and Caicos 9 days, they went to Bahamas for 5 days. When she flew back home, Diddy flew in other girls. They said plural. So that's just how it was going down. But again, he told her from the beginning, according to her testimony, we're just open relationship. I'm going to see multiple women. But again, even though she went down that road, I don't think she could handle it. And even yesterday in court, she had a major outburst. That's what everybody's reporting on because she got really upset. Let me see how far he goes into it now. And if he doesn't clear it out, I'll just tell you what happened.
Shortly after Jane had seen a Facebook post from a girlfriend where she was all excited about a Chanel bag that she had gotten from Diddy. And then she goes through the text exchange that came out of that where Jane gave a pretty insightful breakdown where Diddy had started off by saying how he missed her, and she's like, "You don't miss me. You miss the performance I'm able to give you. But whatever, you do whatever you want. Go off and lay around with whoever it is that you want." And that she was giving him attitude, expressing her frustration with the fact that and the way she explained it was that she's the performer, and that's all she gets to get. She wants to be the girlfriend, and the other ones get the actual girlfriend type quality time from him. So Tenny said to her, "So you didn't get a Chanel bag?" And Jane responded, "No."
Okay, so he makes a solid point. I really like this guy. I go subscribe to his channel. I'm going to post it. But he makes a good point. So what happens with Jane, Diddy seems to have a system. He wines and dines you. I mean, he flew her out. I just explained it, treating her like gold. Then all of a sudden, he gradually introduced them to the whole freak off or debauchery nights. So now you're locked in. You're like a piece of meat, right? This is the facts. This is how they're describing their lives. Multiple witnesses. There's no way around it. And even though they may not be telling the truth in certain ways, in the big picture, you see that these things were going on. So then once she was trapped into these freak offs, and now she's just dealing with, she's just a tool, an object, right? Now she go to Instagram, and Diddy is getting it popping with a new chick, much younger. And now she's at a point where she actually loved the guy. Even yesterday in court, she says, "I love Diddy." She's in love with him. And if he came home today, the impression I got is that she would just fall right back to loving him or what have you. He's still taking care of her financially. Not that that means that everything, but this is a crazy story. I just don't understand. Like, it's just mind boggling.
I got trauma.
From hard hats to steel-toed boots, Granger's got your safety needs covered. Literally.
Everyone was like, "Whoa!" And then she started asking her about different bags, trying to say that she got a different bag. I think it's called a bodega bag or something, and asking her how much a bodega bag costs. And she said, "A lot less than my body." So that was the one scuffle between Jane and Tenny Garagos during the entire cross-examination today. A few moments after that Jane asked to have a break and things settled back down. But it was, like I said, it was excruciatingly long and much.
So yesterday when this happened, the judge called a break. And so we all ran down outside because our cell phones are locked up all day. And we did a video. So you could go back yesterday for maybe like around, I'd say 2:00 in the afternoon. And you'll see the video that we did reporting live from the courthouse, talking about what happened in the courtroom. So if you want to really get the vibe, catch the vibe of what really happened at the time, just go back. Dara Kennedy, who's a big time radio personality in New York City and also on television. She is a top notch. She did a great job of breaking down the story. So go back yesterday around 2:00 and check out the video. It was a live video.
Much of the time, I personally, when I was watching this, I was like, I don't know what we're getting out of this. I don't know. I don't know what to take away from all of this. They're reading through one blah 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 text exchange after another. What am I supposed to get? What am I supposed to get from this? So she's talking about freak-offs, or not freak-offs, but hotel nights, or about this guy, and basically having one very explicit text exchange after another where they're both talking about engaging in hotel nights, and she's going to say that her motivation was that she was trying to give her lover what he wants.
So that's the difference that I see with Jane that I didn't see with Cassie and others, right? Jane has this whole text message. They have them all. They have everything. They use this software or company called Celebrate, I believe. And believe me, they can go back and pull your text messages from 10, 20 years ago. So it doesn't matter what you're deleting and all this stuff or whatever. They can pull it up, especially if you're going through a divorce or legal case. You might as well be honest about it because they're going to pull it. So they have the strain of text messages. And here's the issue that I see sitting in the courtroom every day. 2 years ago, she's actually telling Diddy in text messages, I do not want to sleep with these strange men. They got me sick. And she explains a condition that she developed right after a freak off with 3 men. Like, this stuff is unheard of, but she's actually telling him, but what I did notice under cross-examination, what triggered her in many cases was seeing other women. So she was trying to state her case and be a fixture in Diddy's life, perhaps being his main person of interest, even though he told her, listen, we're going to do this as an open relationship. I think in her mind, now I can't really tell you what she's thinking, right? Obviously. But I got the impression, folks, right, that she thought she could change his mind, but she couldn't. And so that's when she started to tell him, listen, forget this. You got me out here looking crazy. And she was just going on. And you could see now she's telling the story while crying. And this particular witness, Cassie, was more, and don't take this the wrong way, Cassie was more of a trooper. And that's just probably a Southern expression I'm using. But she didn't cry a lot. She only cried when she was reminiscing about her relationship with Diddy, which I thought was odd because her husband was sitting there. And it was just a weird dynamic. I ain't gonna lie about it, right? But Jane is crying. And when she cries, she has this high screech noise. And some of the juror members, I saw them clutch. This is a problem, folks. This is a big problem. And a lot of this people are saying does not have anything to do with a RICO. True. But here's the problem. When they play the video repeatedly and when they tell these stories, they're painting Diddy in a certain light, which, I see some truth to it. I ain't going to hold you. I'm telling you. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens because they're also on a different track. The prosecutors, they're showing force. They're showing people being paid for sex. This girl, the fact that they've now from day one framed her as not being his wife, his main squeeze, living in the house with him, is almost like they have a contractual. Yeah, they have this love contract. So it's almost like now she's like a high level paid worker too, right? She's being compensated after they had relations for the first time of some sorts, especially with these freak offs. She's received 10,000, and they noted Diddy said just because, right? So he was giving her money, almost creating some sort of distance between him and her to show that you're in a certain box of being not my main lover but somebody that I'm using. That's what they're trying to paint here. So it's scary because his character is very shaky from the way he's beating women and just turning up. Now, on the flip side, they did reveal that Diddy's taking medication, mental medication, in addition to he had a whole spread of drugs from ecstasy, Molly, G, whatever that is. Now we can have spray Molly. Then the girls, from what I see in this case, the girls surrounding Diddy, they chose Percocets. They love those Percocets. So the girls are, you get a real picture here of all the things that are going on.
It felt very tedious to me, and I actually felt as if the defense had wasted most of the day. But then I get in an elevator after we wrap up for the day. I get in an elevator with a whole bunch of folks who are all sitting watching this testimony all day today, and it's a crowded elevator with like 15 of us. And as soon as the doors close, one guy goes, that woman is not a victim of being trafficked. And 5-6 people around me are all like, yeah, no way at all. How you call that trafficking? And they all seem to be
Okay, so we have another witness here. When I tell you guys that people are starting to turn for Diddy's favor in many regards, and they're not believing the witnesses, now you have this attorney. He's substantiating my story in a way, right? People were coming out of court yesterday saying this was a money grab. They had some agreement. There was a point also, even in this case, outside of this victim, where they really show that people had money motives of being with Diddy. They show the cases. Pretty much everybody has sued Diddy except her. But in many cases, Diddy would say to the individual, you want me to tell Cassie what you were doing? That's what happened with Mia. We saw that. So it's like, well, what was Mia and Diddy doing that they didn't want Cassie to know? And then Mia framed that as assault, but you tell from the testimony maybe that there was something going on that they didn't want Cassie to know. I'm just telling you from being in the courtroom what I'm hearing and what I kind of gather. And so now that the feds show up, like for instance, with this girl, Jane, she had no intention. She did not contact the feds to talk about Diddy. Mind you, Diddy's still paying her $10,000 a month, right? She said she was receiving $4,700 for child support, so she gets more from Diddy. He's also paying her legal fees. Initially, she was working with the defense and helping them, I guess, they were framing her for the Diddy side. Well, the feds showed up, Homeland Security showed up in March of that year, and 2 agents pulled up on her, and she changed her mind at some point, and they gave her immunity. So I guess she had to say, listen, do I rock with Diddy over here receiving $10,000 a month and maybe whatever? Or can I come out of this with immunity by coming and testifying in court? Well, listen, she's in court testifying. So you understand what's going on. So it's very complicated. And one of the things that I always pick up on, but I don't see the defense really pushing, the defense keeps saying to each witness, and also the prosecution when they're wrapping up with their the victim or the witness, right? They say, has anyone paid you to be here today? And they say no. Have you sued Diddy? Are you expecting money? And that's how we found out that Cassie got an additional $10 million from the hotel. It's because this line of reasoning and questioning that was happening, right? But what I'm interested in seeing, and I don't know why the defense doesn't do it, or maybe it's not proper court etiquette. I don't know. I'll ask the attorneys when they come on this weekend. But why don't you ask the person, are you being charged? And are you here so that the feds don't lock you up? That's the question I want to know sitting in the courthouse. The defense doesn't ask them, are you here? I mean, obviously they're subpoenaed to be there, but are you telling this story and are you perhaps even adding to it? Because some of the witnesses are saying extra verbiage. It's almost like they're trying to lead everybody to a certain assumption about Diddy. Let me explain. When Kid Cudi was on the stand, Kid Cudi, they would ask him a direct question, just like they did Jane yesterday. Instead of just saying yes or no, Kid Cudi, he said yes, but then he says, oh, because they were like, how do you know, what made you think Diddy was the one that burglarized your house or did the arson? Oh, he's like, well, everybody know Diddy's violent. You see what I'm saying? So that's extra information. Like you're trying to send him away. I'm just giving you guys background information. I'm not trying to give you a slant or anything like that. I'm just telling you. So yesterday, when it came to Jane, Tenny, who is very good attorney, Tenny Garagos, right? Her father is very famous. He's one of the two angry men. You see him. He was in court sitting in the row in front of me yesterday. So it's fascinating. I watch them, and then I see the guy sitting in front of me. He says hi and so forth. In fact, yesterday when Jane was leaving the courtroom, she was looking around left, right, left, right. She saw him, and she did this big wave to him. You see what I'm saying? So at any rate, I'm just trying to give you guys a little edge about the what's happening in the background with the case.
On the same page that she's not trafficked, and yet I talk to other people here who seem to get angry at me if I imply to them that there's an argument to be made that she was not trafficked. And that's why I foresee that this third charge is likely to be something that the jury will similarly be hotly divided over as to whether or not she's a victim. That's what I got for you today. We wrapped up at 3 o'clock today. Tomorrow we start at 1 p.m. It's a late start tomorrow. I'll be back here to cover that for you. This is Joe Neerman, aka Good Logic. If you like this type of content, please like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell so you get all notifications. Till next time, Godspeed.
Okay, so I want to make sure that I give this guy, he is amazing. I have to link up with him. I want to make sure I put his link. Sometimes I go on people's channels and they don't put my link in. So basically, people don't know how to reach me. So I want to raise the bar and make sure people get there. If I'm going to use your material, I want to make sure you get all the respect and the attention you need for your life, right? It's very important that we take care of people. So his link to the video is in the chat. So I'm going to wrap up. I was going to get into Trump. You know, everybody know I'm an investor. So, you know, I'm not ashamed to say I own a lot of Tesla stock. So you can judge me for that or not, but I'm a heavy hitter. So, and I purchased Tesla long before anybody even thought about it, probably. So it is what it is. But I do follow, obviously, Elon Musk. Now, I'm not a follower, but I stay in tune with the news because I need to know what I'm investing my money in. So I will be doing a lot of shows on investing. My background is in mortgages. I have an excellent friend of mine, Joe Flores. He's often in the chat. I have to make him a moderator. We've been friends for 20 years or what have you, but he's a big time real estate agent here in New York. So we're going to do shows on that level for people that want to know how to buy houses, how to flip houses. We're not selling any products or what have you. If you want to reach out to Joe on your own and make a deal, but I'm not here selling any product. I'm just trying to give out as much information. I'm beyond that point where I'm trying to make money or something like that. I'm pretty cool with that. So at any rate, let me go through. Also too, I'm sorry, I'm getting a call. All right. I'll just deal with that later. Also, please, I have a body language expert. I had her on the channel yesterday. Check her out. She's going to be on this weekend. So let's just go through the questions where I left off at. As far as the Trump and Elon Musk video, I wanted to see what's happening with the riots. I'll do a separate video for that. And also in working with Law and Crime, they sent me a different case that's going to be coming up out of Arizona. I'm going to cover that separately. I won't mix the two. So for those of you who are interested in trying to figure out why we're having these riots, in fact, Deborah, one of my solid watchers, as I was leaving yesterday, I go through Grand Central every day. I was in a rush, and she notified me and let me know that there was a fire at Grand Central. So that's probably going to affect me today going through. And now I'm hearing that there's riots in the city. And mind you guys, I'm in the city, and there's constant fights and things going on. So, I just have to be careful, be judicious as I'm navigating through the city. But I'm not new to this. I've been in New York for 30 years. I came out of a little town called Boydton, Virginia. So shout out to Boydton, Virginia, to a lot of my people from back home follow my channel. I'm on TikTok. I'm going to be on every platform pretty soon. So let's get to the questions and we'll wrap it up and I'll start preparing to get on the train. I will go live today when I get to Grand Central. Maybe I can show you where the fire was or what have you, whatever they allow us to see. So, Hans Gruber says, still no evidence of the charges. I can't stand with you on that. I'm in the courtroom. They do have evidence. Maybe the defense can still navigate him away from it. But brother, believe me, they have evidence. I've seen it with my own eyes. Okay, so Cindy Ann, something to Jane Doe proves X trafficking, the moving of drugs and prostitution. Listen, David Phillips came in. He was the first sex worker. And he said that he was hired for $200 from Cowboys and Angels out of, I believe, New York City. He gets to the door. All of a sudden, Cassie is propositioning him for more money, and he takes the bait. And I think he testified he was receiving $3,000 to $4,000 to engage in X activity, in which he did for probably more than 10 or more times. That's the exchange of money for X. And some of these guys are testifying that they flew from one state to the other. They also told where one was flown to the islands. So when you look at the law, I'm not a lawyer, but if they look at it simplistically, I would be careful saying that they don't have anything, because this is just two little points that they made very clear in court. They also showed a hotel. The guy Jules was there during the CNN video. I'm thinking they're going to bring him on the stand. They brought on the Punisher, but they have his metadata in the hotel where he's flown from, I believe, New York to LA. They have text messages between him and Cassie and I think even Puff. They have Diddy's American Express card. Come on now, you guys got to get with the program here and understand that this is the feds. They don't just pull you out and say, oh, hey, you're wearing that silly hat and suit. We're going to throw some charges on you, right? Right? That's not how they operate. They get you for some solid, and by the way, I do this because this is a part of my branding, so it is what it is. But just a little humor, dry humor, that is. At any rate, they have the feds, before they pull you, they already built their case. They just need you to come here. They pick you up by your head and sit you in the cell. Boop. In the state or in your local municipality, they usually arrest you and then they start putting their case together. So there's a reason why the feds have a 95% conviction rate. I went to Donald Trump's trial. I sat there. Donald Trump walked past me just like Diddy. Well, not like Diddy. Diddy goes out through a certain door. Donald Trump walked past us. They brought him in differently. The guy's really tall, interesting fella. But he was a previous president, and look what happened to him. He got 34 felonies. So this is not, you guys really have to focus here, I think, more and try to, the media is very interesting. Not to say the jury won't set him free. I'm just saying it's not like that. There's nothing here of the sort. Some people say, oh, this is bogus. They do. They're showing, like, for instance, they framed this case from the beginning at the opening arguments. I was there writing my notes. They said, the defense, this man is guilty of domestic violence, but he's not guilty of racketeering. I think there's a lot of truth to that, right? I do, from being there. But here's the problem. When you beat the Chef Jourdain, when you beat the hairstylist or the stylist in general, Deontay Nash, he came in. He wasn't Diddy's lover. He wasn't a member of his household. And he talked about how Diddy was just banging him in the back of the head, threw him down. Mia, she was an employee. She said that Diddy threw her against the wall. Cassie is getting beaten, domestic violence. I get it. But when you go outside the scope of your family, can that hold up? But anyway, we have to let the lawyers work with that, let the system work out. I'm just saying that it's some serious business here. And every day in court, they've laid out all of this burglary with Kid Cudi, they laid out the fire. Now, were they able to pin it to Diddy on a T? No, because they never tied it to him. In fact, I showed on the previous video for the arson, there's a woman's DNA on the bottle used for the Molotov cocktail. So they didn't tighten it up. But what I'm saying is there's just so much there, so many people, places, and things that are happening. It's a very shaky case, just to say the least. Ryan Williams, good morning, Bub. All right. Cindy, Gina's testimony, IMO, would have been similar to Jane Doe's. Lord, she, JD, and Cassie all look so familiar, similar to. I'm just trying to navigate through the messages because some individuals have read the victim's name, that they're trying to hide the identity online, and it's creating a lot of issues. So I just want to make sure I'm not saying someone's name wrong, or saying, revealing their name in my live, and then I have to go to court and deal with all the drama. So Gina claims to have been brutally abused by him while he was with other women. So guys, I represent Tasha K as far as the courtroom correspondence. Tasha has an exclusive interview with Gina. So you should go check out Tasha K if you want to hear what this victim had to say. And I think this is the only place that you can even find her story is with my team, Tasha K, which shout out to you, Tasha K, for really supporting this channel and also putting me on the map. I mean, it's amazing to be a part of the umbrella there. So anyway, let's go with Cindy Ann says, yep, also Craigslist. Yeah, they were getting ex-workers off of Craigslist. Like, I just don't understand. Imagine being a regular guy out here trying to hustle yourself, and you end up with a person that you probably are a fan of that's a big celebrity. That's really kind of weird to me. All right, Eve says Diddy is a psycho. All right. Eve also says Vance is sick too, his family relatives say. Okay, Eve says Diddy's sick, another celeb came forward. Yes, indeed. Eve says Diddy's going down fast. Brandon Terrell, shout out to you. Thank you guys for liking, sharing the videos. Take a moment, please like. It just gets more eyes and ears on the videos. Duffy should be let go. I'm all for justice, but only think I've seen was a drunken, drug-induced fight in the hotel room. Maybe he should get charged for that, but the rest looks like women trying to rob him. Oh, okay, so he's saying it's Puffy. It said Duffy. Okay, good. So Puffy, that was about him. Brandon Terrell, that's a familiar name I'm seeing. Shout out to you. Thanks for locking in with me. Yeah, and I need you guys to send me a less than a 1 minute video so I could post it. I want to know what you have to say. I would love to post it on my shorts. So you have my email address. I'm going to drop it here. Let me just take a moment. Guys, grab your coffee. I have coffee coming out. Recently, I met with Jadakiss' father. So stay tuned, guys. I'm going to have some coffee on Amazon. I'm a big coffee guy. Probably not the best thing in the world to be drinking all this coffee, but I'm putting this in the... Just sit tight, everybody. I'm giving you the email. Send over your video. Also, tell me if you have a company, I'll definitely... There's no fee. If you support me, I support you. That's how it goes down. Watching the world with 2 O's at gmail.com. All right. So now you guys have it. It's in the chat. So I'm about to wrap up here, but let me go through the comments. I want everybody to be heard. Edward says, Brandon says the woman stayed with him. They were sleeping with the men and all agreed to and did it. There's so much truth to that. People, when you say that, though, people want to counsel you. So, but I'm in the courtroom every day, and I'm just saying it's a lot of blurred lines. I don't think people realize that. Edward Misma says, I think Cassie is full of something nasty. Oh, okay. Brandon, Terrell says, I've seen it many times. They chose to stay with him, and he not forced no one. They are there and been there. He look at jurors because he's looking for some sympathy from someone. He been no bail locked. Okay. All right. Good observation there, Brandon. Thank you. And I appreciate you participating. I've been seeing you on a regular basis. Shout out to you. Send me a video. Come on. Less than a minute. I'll put you on TikTok and YouTube. So shout out to you guys who want to support Edward Mismas. These people are all out of their mind. You should say out of their cotton picking mind. That's what we said down south. My grandfather says they're out of their cotton picking mind. That might be an offensive term, but it's something my grandfather said. So it is what it is, folks. Brandon Terrell says, sad that can happen to a man. All right. A lot of things are happening. Cindy Ann. I think Cindy is from Italy, where I just came back from. You know what I found amazing when I went to Italy? Now, I hope I don't offend people, but listen, folks, if I offend you, I don't mean any harm. But one thing I noticed when I was at the Vatican, and I didn't know this, but you can see it. It's on my live video because I was live when the lady told me. And I'm in a Bible scholarship program. I like to debate about the Bible. I had a history with the religion growing up and all that stuff. But anyway, that's where my passion lies. But anyway, in the Vatican, they have a painting, and you'll see it in my video. Maybe I'll repost it. But they have people going to hell. Yeah, they have Muhammad going to hell. They have different religious figures of the big religions going to hell. And the tour guide said that that's why they have an army outside protecting the building, because people are very offended by this painting. But you'll see it there. The tour guide breaks it down very nicely. I'm like, man, that's interesting to say the least. All right, next I'll be going to Greece. And then after Greece, this is all a part of my Bible studies program and just being a scholar, learning the background. Because when I grew up, I was just learning at face value, but now I'm learning the history of what have you, and I see different issues. So that's where my passion lies. But I'm going to Greece, and then I'll go to Egypt the following year. So this next year, Greece, and then the following year, Egypt. All right, Brandon, if they did not like it, then leave. Why spend time with him if he is so terrible? Good point. Solid point. Cindy, did I read your comment? No, I didn't. I got to babbling. Okay, so I agree that women chose to stay. Cassie was amazing, has amazing parents. I'm sure they would have figured something out, but I guess she, Puff, did too much too soon, and she was scared it would go public. Shout out to you, Cindy, all the way from Italy. Also enjoyed Venice, Cindy. It was or I think they call it Venice or something like that. At any rate, she also says exactly, leave at the beginning. Cindy also says they were in love with the money, lifestyle, and possibilities eventually. It's easy for a very rich and popular man to manipulate and get what he wants. He has severe narc traits. Yes, indeed. You really hit the ball on the head there. But we all have problems too. But some of us are just out of this world, and it's scary. Should never abuse people. That's the bottom line. You have to behave yourself. You shouldn't be you shouldn't be abusing kids, women, or anybody for that matter. I mean, it's a big world. We could just easily mind our own business, but some people like to troll, and I deal with trolls every day. All right. No says we will see what's going to happen. All these people looking for a payday, thinking they are safe if the Godfather is in prison. Exactly. That's a good point. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. Brandon, shout out to you again. How is it his fault? Could be God's fault. Could be anyone's fault. Okay. Thank you, Brandon, for your words. Yep. Payday. That's it from Brandon. Cindy, yeah. No, I wouldn't be able to sleep. What if he walks? Okay. A lot of people are thinking about that. Brandon, so sad. All paydays. How does society allow this? Yeah, good question. No also says, I guess if he walks, he may snap like thinking he's untouchable and really dish it out. Oh, good possibility. Always a possibility. Brandon Terrell says, if they feel like a piece of meat, then leave. I feel the same way all the time, so I can sue. I feel the same way all the time. Can I sue everyone? Exactly. Good point. I think, though, here's the problem that I'm seeing with these victims. They were relying on him for money. That did come out. And so if you're receiving 10,000, as she's saying, I mean, she did say that affected her ability to be able to leave. Also, the recognition for being in his circle. I mean, clout now comes at a tremendous price, so people will do anything for the love of the fame. Brandon, and lock them up. That's my point, Brandon. I think if they come on the stand and talk about what Diddy did, they get to enjoy it. Well, I won't say enjoy, but they get to have immunity. So that's a compelling motive to participate with the government. Cindy, exactly, to Brandon. Cindy, the bags. Yes, indeed, the bags. But she said her body is no comparison to those to that Chanel bag. But again, hearing about Young Miami really set her flame afire. Generate Love says, can someone pin this man at? Okay, definitely. If you're talking about me, shout out to you. If you're talking about the attorney, I'm going to pin him. I posted him in the chat so you guys can go and give him some support. He's an attorney that practices in that courtroom for many years. So I'm going to try to get him to say a few words to you guys. Tell him we were talking about him. We were chanting him on, right, as a hero, being an attorney there. Okay, so Michelle Renee says, I agree. I can't wrap my head around this mindset. I hope she gets some help, therapy, so hard to understand. Most of them are saying that they've started therapy. In fact, Diddy has been clean for about 8 to 9 months, from what I understand. And also he has been receiving therapy as well. I think this case is just very interesting. I'll leave it at that. Generate Love. You know, how do people come up with they had the psychologist there. Everybody wants to know, why do people stay around, but also what causes men to beat women like that? You know, this is something that really needs to be addressed, because in the world at large, men are starting to degrade women more and more each day, especially black women. And I have a major problem with all women being abused, but we have to change the narrative, because each generation seems to create a worse generation. That's not a proper word, but anyway. Um, so we need to really instruct the children to do better and look at respect each other. That's important. Generate Love. Okay, pin his would be great so he gets proper credit. Yeah, I posted him in the chat. And he will be pinned once I come off this live and I can focus on doing that. Cindy, watching the world. Didn't JD ask how much is my body worth? Yeah, she did. When they asked her about the bag, she says, yeah, how much is my body? She says it, you know, the other girls, they got bags. JD or Jane Doe says, I got trauma. So that really hit hard. Cindy, who Generate Love, the one on the video outside the court. Okay, so you're asking a question to that person. Generate Love video, dear. I'm sorry. I mean, up. Okay, so that's just a private conversation you guys having. Cindy says, I can give the name. Okay. Better to ask Mel. I'm not sure what you guys are talking about. Maybe you could post a new comment and I can understand. Elegance. Please, guys, also do not post the real names of any victim from this court case in the chat. Please do not do it. I like going to the court every day, and I don't want to mistakenly identify a victim and then go on the list of court problem people. You know what I mean? All right. Elegance, shout out to you. Good morning. Thank you for the support. Thanks for coming back. You've been back several times, so have to get to know you. All right, but have a good day. Cindy, watching the world, can you name the CC from the video? Yes. Let's do him a solid. Actually, let's get him back on the screen here. Let's really break him down. I want people to okay, here we go. He's already on the screen. Let me pull him up here. Give me a second. Again, I'm learning to navigate all this, guys. But believe me, I'll get it down. Let's see here. All right, the name of this video, check it out. Wicked comeback from Jane on Cross. Best legal breakdown. Okay, let's see. His name is Good Logic. All right, guys. So take out a moment. If you're interested in this case, obviously, if you listen to me for over an hour, you must be interested in this case. This guy's an attorney who practices law in New York City at the same courthouse. He's not just showing up for the first time. He's there all the time. He has a strong following, and I'm going to try to get him on the channel. Every day when we're leaving, yesterday, we were actually walking out together, and we were headed in the same direction. And then I went online. It's amazing how he was recommended to me right after that. So I think, this is my assumption, that when you're near someone in the same vicinity, I think they start recommending the videos. And that's why a lot of people are starting to tell me they're seeing my videos at, people that are at the courthouse. So his video came up, and I'm very happy about it because he did such a great job. All right. So there he goes, guys. Hopefully you guys can go support him, like his videos, support him in every way possible. All right. What is a Percocet? That's a pill. It's a pain pill that people take to get high. It's a narcotic, so it's a controlled substance, and it's on the market. People make up these pills. They put things in it, like sometimes they put fentanyl, and people actually lose their lives. Brandon says hydro. Generate Love says Mel. Can you on his name? I did much better than that. I put him on the screen, guys. And shout out to you guys. They're very concerned about giving credit. I had posted his link in the chat as well, so you can also go and click on it. You don't have to go searching. I put his link in the chat. We want him to get all his respect that he needs and the credit. All right. And this is under fair use, so you could use someone else's material as long as you stop and give commentary. And I do the added by giving the link and also showing you about his page. And I'll also try to have him on the channel so you guys can say hi to him and interact. All right. Cindy Ann says GHB is an older club drug. Okay. Thanks for breaking that down. One drop too many and you go into a coma. Wow. That's the famous date grape drug. Okay. Thank you for breaking that down, Cindy. Cindy is bringing it to us from Italy. She is on top of her game, okay? Cindy also says his name is Good Logic. Thank you, Cindy, for doing that. Cindy, I need to get you on board to wheel and deal in the chat for me. I appreciate that. Talk to me. Send me an email if you're interested in working with me. Anybody interested in building, let's go. Brandon, we just have a few more comments, guys. It's been a money grab. A retardant, lied and said, didn't Jay-Z graped his, well, yeah, we can't call people's names, or we can't call names either, guys. So let's just, I get what you're saying, but we just got to cool it, with people. I don't want people to feel like they're being bullied in any way or abused in any way associated with the channel or my name. That's just how I roll. Nothing personal. So Bordock says, morning. Yes, indeed. Only gaming. Okay. WSP. So I'm not hip anymore. So I'm lost with the WSP. That, my daughter reminds me every day that I'm like a caveman now when it comes to this the new jargon. So you'll have to tell me what WSP means, or somebody light it up in the comments. Tell me what it means. Just Judy, Percocet is oxycodone, hydrocodone, Vicodin. Just a little FYI, and both are used for the pain. Just Judy, I hope you're still here. That's what I mean. So when I'm up here on the stage talking that talk and trying to break it down, shout out to people like you that are actually giving us the definitions, folks. I have some real supporters out here. Hey, listen, guys, I did a competition. I'm going to be giving away funds to people. All you have to do is participate if you support me. I'm not asking for anything in return, but whoever can find me, like in the background. Actually, I think I was in the background of this video that I did today. I think I saw myself walking by in the background. If you can find me in another channel's walking in the background, not talking, being interviewed, I'm going to send the first person that identifies me in the video $100. You can get yourself some coffee. You can do a lot with $100. I mean, it's not too bad, right? So if you want to participate, it's just my way of saying thank you. You'll see a lot of that from me. That's just my personality. All right. So, and there's the link that I put out for Good Logic. Deborah, I saw him yesterday. Mel, good opinion. Yeah, he's out there. I see him every day. Thank you. From Cindy to Just Judy, I tried a GHB a couple of times 20 years ago. Didn't know what it was really for, but I knew it was very careful with the dose. Cat is a nest for big animals. Anesthesia for, oh, wow. So they're taking anesthesia. That's crazy, man. There's a lot of ketamine in this trial. We've been hearing about all these drugs. Okay, Bordox actually saw Logic too. So shout out to you guys. You're covering so much information. Yeah. Okay. So K is animal tranquilizer. Wow, man, I did not know that. They should say that in court. Cindy says some content creators were saying that the baby oil was laced with GHB. Is that maybe why so much? No, it came out in court that, and even Cassie said that no drugs inside the I've been talking so long, guys. I can't even talk anymore. I need some water. I'm sorry. All right. So we're going to wrap up here. Queen Sheba. Oh, Queen Sheba is my courtroom partner. We sit beside each other. And when I'm not paying attention, I get her notes. And when she steps away, because she always pays attention, she looks at my notes, writing all day when I'm not falling asleep. When the person like Jade has such a soft voice, I'm telling you, it's hard to stay up all day. So yesterday was the day that I was definitely nodding off. And as I looked around, a lot of people were nodding off. Even members of I don't want to talk about their group, but I think you guys get the drift. Throughout the entire courtroom, people were nodding off. Let me tell you, when I went to Donald Trump's trial, he was knocked out most of the day. Because it's tough to sit in court and just all day. I mean, it takes a lot to get there. I started my day at 3:00, but certain testimonies, like under Jane's, also Cassie, their main testimony, it's hard to fall asleep on that because it's very interesting. All right, so let's see here. Deborah, be careful. Mel, yeah, I'll be careful out here in these streets. I navigate pretty well. I'm not a scared type of guy. All right. Bordox, I've been there to New York one time. All right. Looking good from Bordox. Shout out to you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Candor Breezy. She's on the channel a lot. I do the videos. Candor is the individual that was removed from the courtroom. She was protesting. Shout out for being here today. You can see on the first week of jury selection, she was actually, I did a video of her. She actually was very instrumental in helping me. She was like, you want to definitely take your notes and do them this way. And she has a lot of information, but she was removed from the courtroom. And yesterday I posted a short of her interview on TikTok, Instagram, and also on here. So you can check her out. She's on it every day at the court case. She's gone viral probably every week. So she's a celebrity now. But she's on the case, and eventually I imagine she'll be back in the courtroom. Deborah, the assault charge, right. Okay, Donna. Donna is always here. Thank you so much. Good morning to you, Donna. It's nice to see a familiar face now. Candor, Tasha K, didn't know that. Congrats. Yeah, definitely. I'm the court correspondent for Tasha K. Tasha K I have a lot of respect for her. She is an amazing person, and she's very good at what she does. So we stand on that around here. Yeah, that's my main channel for support. Okay, Bordox Facts. You can go on Tasha K and find me there. I did a live interview. I'll be back on. And she broke that video down into so many parts. And so that's why people are actually stopping me, probably because of Tasha K, because she's probably so well known out there, especially amongst the hip hop community. But she covers a lot. So thank you, Tasha K, either way. Bordock says facts. Cindy says, yes, that interview is 5 years old, but it's very telling and has been reposted. Yeah, she's talking about the interview from Tasha K, the Gina interview that I was talking about. All right, Joe Flores. And guys, I'm going to court late today, so I'm going to be going through these comments because I have the time and I want everybody to be heard. Yes, shout out to you, Joe Flores, a good friend of mine in real life. We've been doing deals together for 20 years. Right, Joe? Tell the people all about it. Joe, you have to come on the channel and tell people how to flip houses, and I'll be able to give them the expert information about how to purchase and how to structure your mortgage, what program to use. I can break down to you how to pay your mortgage off by paying bi-weekly. Now, I'm not active in the field, but that was my career, and I can give you guys all this information. We're going to be doing these type of shows, so stay tuned, guys. But if you request it, I'll do it. If you're not interested in finance and things of that sort about investing in the stock market, then I won't go there. Or if you want some private information, reach out to me. I'll give it to you. It's not a service I'm providing for money or anything like that. So just reach out to me. A lot of you have been reaching out through email, so that's awesome. And again, I've been on Law and Crime. I have not... guys, hold on one second. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Okay, Bordock says, love my coffee. Yeah. So even before I started doing this, I met with Jadakiss' father down in Westchester area. So I'm fascinated with coffee. I like coffee. So I'm going to be coming out with a coffee brand for Amazon. So if anybody want to check it out, once it's developed, then we'll talk about it more. All right. So anyway, Cindy says, I live in Rome, Mel, but I'm not Italian. My daughter is. Wow. I've never seen that pointing. All right. Yeah. Go check out the painting in the Vatican. They have Muhammad and other religious figures going to hell. They're actually burning in hell. So that's why they have the military outside of there, because that's a point of contention. Didn't know that till I went to Italy. And again, I'm going to Greece next. I'm excited about that because that's the trail. Believe unless you really know these type of things. But when it comes to these religions, right? Well, I don't want to get into that. Well, I'll give you guys one point. Most of it stems back to Egypt, from Egypt to Greece, right? And if you go to the museum here in New York City, the Metropolitan, you can see, and I can give you a tour. I mean, this is what I do in my secular world. I give tours there now, but you can see how religion developed, even language. Egypt, it goes to Greece. Then the Greece comes up with a pantheon of gods, and then they take it to Rome. And you see the influence of even Egypt and Greece while reading the Bible. But unless you really dig, you won't see it. And I can back it up if you want to come to New York and go to the museum. But also, I'm going to these three places. I've already been to Rome, going to Greece next, and then Egypt. So stay tuned. If you go back into my live videos from August, you'll see Pompeii. You'll see where the volcanic ash really destroyed the place. You'll see a lady, they say she was bathing herself. And what happened was, man, I don't want to get away from Diddy, this case, but I just want to make this one point. The people it's documented, the water, they had these springs of water, hot water coming through, and they were like, oh, we have hot water to take a bath with. They didn't know that the water was actually stemming from the volcano that was about to erupt and, just destroy everyone and wipe them out. So anyway, go to Italy and check it out. If you need some advice on that, I could tell you how I did it. I did it with a bus tour. So I flew into Rome, and we did a bus tour. It included the hotels. It was a lot of money, but well worth it. I would love to go back, at some point. All right, Derek says 10 years of freak offs and also while she was married. Okay, that's your observation. Cindy, thanks for the love. Oh, okay. Okay. Phoenicia. Okay. All right. Maybe I still didn't hit the mark, but thank you. David Godwin says free P. Diddy protest June 19th, 500 Pearl Street, New York. Thousands will attend. Jesus Christ says, he who is without sin cast the first stone. Yep. He's quoting from a Bible text in the Gospels. So the first person that can tell me the scripture that he's quoting gets $25 today, guys. So just tell me what scripture did he just quote, and I will definitely send me your Cash App. Or we'll stream it down. But I was telling them about this protest that's coming. So I'm glad you posted. David, you have to send me an email so that I can perhaps get in front of you a little bit with this protest and at least give you just learn more about what's happening and if you need to get in touch with someone. All right. And I imagine, let's see. Yeah, so you guys are supporting Diddy. Okay. All right. Well, if that's what you guys are doing, that's what you're doing. Okay. Rita says, thank you for being so kind and respectful. Yeah, that's what it's about. I don't like bullies, and I'm not too kind to bullies. And you shouldn't be putting your hands on people. It would never happen on my watch, believe me, I'll pull out the A team if I heard somebody was doing that in my family or just in general. You shouldn't be doing that. All right, so Cindy, no judgment here, just my personal opinions, and they're welcome here. Cindy, keep coming back. I appreciate the support. You're here every day. You're in Deborah and Bordox. I'm starting to see you guys are here for every video, so I have a photographic memory, so I'm keeping a list and I'm checking it twice. All right, Cindy, okay. Derek says, oh, stop with the speculation. It's not a crime to be a freak. So many people wanted to be in his presence. Okay, if that's directed to me, that's your opinion. That wasn't my message. That's your speculation of my message. So, but you're telling me to stop speculating, so I will. Thank you, sir. I appreciate having you here. Okay. Cindy, That was to Rita, so I won't read that. Derek says domestic violence is a pattern, not just an incident. That's called a fight. People have fights occasionally. Okay. All right. Thank you for that bit of insight. Okay. Derek says, where is Rico? Well, let me tell you about where Rico is, right? When Jane was trying to put together this all-star night, and they were going to have this big debauchery freak off, she testified that it was her time of the month, so there was some problems. But when they were scheduling this event, Diddy says Rico is available, and Jane said she didn't know if he was calling himself Rico or he had a worker named Rico. But the bottom line is, Diddy end up getting a Rico from the feds, and it wasn't the Rico he wanted. So be careful, Derek, what you ask for, because the Rico he wanted is the Rico that got him in jail. All right, so, or led to the Rico that got him locked up, and it's very serious. Okay, Cindy, bless you, Mel. The world needs more men like you. Hey, we need more supporters like you, because people can't operate at a high level without having a supporter or supporters. Everybody counts in this thing. And I gave this lecture. You know, people from my background, you know, I used to give lectures. I'm rusty now. I haven't given one in like 20 years. But I used to always say, you know, everybody likes to look to the person. Like right now that's on stage, it happens to be me for this video. But they like to look at P. Diddy, Michael Jackson, or whatever, especially like when you go to the concert. But believe it or not, if you go to the bathroom and there's no tissue, then you start to realize how important the person that cleans the bathroom is. And then at that moment, when you use the bathroom and you don't have tissue, you won't be thinking about that person on stage. You're going to be focused on the person that's rendering service. So my point is, everybody is important. Everybody in the building, you know, just as important as that person that's in the forefront. And now we're starting to see that the people in the forefront, they're getting locked up. Suge Knight, R. Kelly. And I'm going to do some new news came out about R. Kelly. I'm going to report on it later today. Bill Cosby was locked up, right? Jeffrey Epstein. The list goes on and on. These are the people that are leading in the forefront, and now they're coming to court, and we're finding out a lot of craziness. Okay, so I think that's it. Free P. Diddy protest again from David. Thank you for that information, David. I'm going to pass it on. I was talking about you yesterday, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. David, could you tell us a little bit more about this whole protest? Like, who's behind it? You could email me about it. I really need you to do it. Let me put my email, if somebody else, I really need some moderators. That's what I need. But you know, that will come in time. So guys, give me a moment here. Okay, so David, send me more information about this protest that's happening, if it's real, which I don't doubt it. Okay, and I will try to guide you whatever way you want to go with this. Okay. Just as far as if you need information, I would like to know more. So, yeah. Tinny Fly says Scandinavian countries have socialism among the happiest countries of the world. Okay. You might want to come on my Trump and Elon and whatever this riot video that I'll be doing. I want to keep it separate. Joe Flores says, yes, we will do a show together. All right, Joe. Thank you. Cindy says, coffee, yummy. Yeah, I'll have the coffee brand out pretty soon. Again, Jadakiss' father, the rapper Jadakiss, he's been doing coffee for like 30 years. So he's top of the line. I'll bring on some of his coffee and I'll show you guys on my next show. All right. I'll show you their brand of coffee. Okay, and Brian Williams says the Bible verse is John 8:7. Ryan, send me your Cash App. You just got $25 coming your way. Shout out to you. I like that. See, now we're making progress. Somebody actually answered that question. So, and we have that other $100 out there. If you could find me in a video, just in the background, walking around, get your $100 right away. Ryan, send me your Cash App or Zelle to the email address I sent. Derek says, really, I don't think so. Was a really not a good answer to that. Heck, Young Thug wasn't I convicted of a RICO and there was much more evidence. All right, that's your opinion. And just about as good as mine. We both I think the RICO is gonna be a problem, there's no doubt about it. But we can't act like they're not dropping solid information about this case. I've been in the courtroom listening to it, seeing all the exhibits, and yeah, that's just my take on it. All right, guys. So that wraps it up. Thank you again, Cindy, for the shout outs. I appreciate you guys. And I'll be back on, let's see. Today we have court from 1 to 5. I go on the channel at 5. I believe I'm on Law and Crime again, but that's at lunch tomorrow. Yeah, so tonight I'll be able to squeeze in some time, probably around 8 o'clock. And I'll try to bring on. Last night I brought on some guests, and man, it turned into a comedy show. But I needed those laughs, so go check it out. It was the last video last night. We had Udo on the go. He's like a comedian, man. He had us laughing. I will be covering the riots, trying to find out what's happening. So when you see the Trump versus Elon in the riots or whatever video, then you know that that's what I'm covering. I will be covering R. Kelly. He's trying to get out, so I'll cover that. Also covering a case that Law and Crime sent me out of Arizona. This lady's representing herself. She's kicked out of court. She's on trial, I think, for killing 3 kids and also her husband's ex-wife or something. Anyway, I have to, really look at the case, and then we can go from there. All right, so Eli says, John 8:7, let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her. Okay. Now, see, I could really get into that story off the top of my head about the lady who is guilty of adultery. And so anyway, this is what I do. So it's like really pulling against me not to get into that verse and explain the background. But anyway, I'm going to stay true to trying to stay focused on the Diddy trial for this particular video. All right. So Ryan says, thank you. I'll send my Cash App shortly. Have a great day. And thank you so much for your kindness and professionalism. Thank you. Ryan, stick around, lock in with me. Send me the Cash App and I'll get it to you ASAP. All right. Cindy says, Mel, check your mail and posts. I've already sent you some links and timestamps. Man, this Cindy is something like a phenomenon. That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. That's all I have in the tank, folks. I'll be back later. Oh, I'll be live when I get to Grand Central. I'll try to find where the fire broke out. I'm nosy. I'll show you guys, and we'll travel to the courthouse together. So off we go. Thank you. It's been almost 2 hours, and you guys have been listening to me and my monotone self, right? Hopefully I didn't put you to sleep. Thank you. You're far too kind. I appreciate everybody. Listen, here's my message. These younger generation guys are out here with their channels. They have their movements. They say, oh, freak the girls and throw them in the trash can. We have to change that. So that's what this side of town is about. We're with the people that have daughters and don't want to have to deal with these crazy guys messing with our daughters, because then, they're going to get the real smoke. I'm telling you what I know. So we really need to try to change the narrative, stop all this craziness. Some of these content creators are talking about it's okay to do certain things to women that are not of your same race or what have you. Like, what's going on in the world? So let's cut out all the abuse. And somebody else is still commenting. Okay, Eli says definitely a new sub here. Thank you, Eli. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. And Eli, because you answered the question properly, I'm going to throw you in 20. All right, because you were second place. So send me your cash app. And I'm still waiting for somebody to find me in the video to get the $100 cash. Yeah, thank you, Cindy. Like. Cindy, let's lock in so you can help me keep everything intact. All right. All right. Good day, everybody. My name is Mel Smith, and I'm part of Watching the World. Also, a lot of times you won't be seeing me. I'm going to be opening up my platform because Watching the World is bigger than me. So I'm going to have people coming on doing their thing, and I'm going to have a sports guy. And believe me, he's a fanatic. He knows. Listen, I'm a Cowboy fan. If you talk about my Cowboys, and obviously you see where I'm at, right? And if LeBron is going to retire, I'm going to be a Knicks fan. Because, listen, I've been following LeBron since he's been in the league. So if he leaves, I'm just going to rock with my state so I can go to the games, because I go to the games anyway. A lot of times I've been in the VIP booth at the Barclays Center because we have a connection. So why not represent for my state? All right. So I'll be pretty much all New York, but I'm never going to give up on my Cowboys. I think we're going to take it this year. So I'm going to have a comedy section, a guy coming on. I'm going to have lawyers. So different people have their show. And so it's going to be interesting. Just stick with me. If you send me a 1-minute video and you have some incredible skill or what have you, I'm definitely going to offer you a slot. So work with me. And if you have talent, step out. It's not easy for me to do this. This is not what I do. I'm an investor. I don't really have to come on here and talk. But I'm going to do it for you guys. All right. Stay tuned. And thank you for locking in today. I'll see you guys later.